Chapter 9, Mishnah 5. In the case of the last Mishnah, there were three women sleeping in one bed and lying very close together. And because they were so close together, it was likely that the kesem could have come from any one of them. Our Mishnah discusses a similar case, but here the women are farther apart from each other, with each sleeping on a different part of the bed. If three women were sleeping in one bed, with one woman lying on the inner part of the bed, near the wall, one woman in the middle, and one woman on the outer part of the bed, and blood was found on the bed beneath the middle woman, all three of them are ruled tummy out of doubt. Since people tend to roll over in their sleep, either of the two women on the sides of the bed may have rolled over into the middle, so the kesem could have come from any one of them. If the kesem was found beneath the inner woman closest to the wall, the two inner women, the one next to the wall and the one in the middle, are tame. But the outer woman is tahor, since it is not likely that she rolled over all the way to the inside part of the bed. If the kesem was found beneath the outer woman, the two outer women are tame, and the inner woman is tahor, since it is not likely that she rolled over all the way to the outer part of the bed. The Mishnah qualifies its last ruling that if the blood was found beneath the outer woman, then the inner woman remains tahor. Rabbi Yehuda said, when does this ruling apply? When the woman entered at the foot of the bed. All three women reached their sleeping positions by moving from the foot of the bed to the head of the bed, without passing over any part of the bed used by the other woman. Since the inner woman was never near the outer part of the bed, neither while entering the bed nor while sleeping in it, the kesem found there certainly could not have come from her. But if the three of them entered at the side of the bed where the outer woman was sleeping and passed over her, all three of them are ruled tame out of doubt. Since the inner woman did not pass over the outer part of the bed at one point, the kesem could have come from her. The Mishnah now discusses cases where the women examined themselves after the kesem was seen. If one of the women examined herself with the cloth immediately after the kesem was seen, and she was found to be tahor, i.e., there was no trace of blood on her cloth, she is ruled tahor because her examination proves that the kesem did not come from her, and the other two are ruled tamei out of doubt. If two of the women examined themselves and found themselves to be tahor, they are ruled tahor for the reason given above, and the third woman is ruled tamei since the kesem must have come from her. If all three of them examined themselves and found themselves to be tahor, all of them are ruled tamei, even though their examinations indicate that none of these women should be seeing Niddah blood. The kesem obviously came from one of them. As a result, we cannot exempt any one of them over the others, and we must rule all three of them tamei out of doubt. The Mishnah compares the above rulings to a group of similar rulings involving corpse tuma. To what can the matter be compared? To a tamei pile of stones, i.e., a pile of stones that has a piece of human corpse in it, that got mixed up among two tahor piles of stones. And they examined one of the piles and found it to be tahor, i.e., there was no piece of corpse found among the stones. In this case, it is ruled tahor, and the other two are ruled tamei. As in our earlier case, once we are confident that there is no tuma in the searched pile, it is ruled tahor, and the two remaining piles are ruled tamei out of doubt. If they examine two of the piles and found them to be tahor, they are ruled tahor, and the third pile is ruled tamei. If they examined all three of the piles and found them to be tahor, all of them are ruled tamei. These are the words of Rebbe Meir, because Rebbe Meir used to say, anything that has a presumption of tuma remains forever in its state of tuma, until it becomes known to you where the tuma is. Since we are certain that there was corpse tuma in one of the piles, we must assume that it is still there, even though all of the piles were searched and the tuma was not found. Similarly, the three women who did not see any blood on their examination cloths must all be ruled tamei out of doubt, since we know that the kesem certainly came from one of them. The sages disagree in the case of corpse tuma. The sages say, if the tuma was not found in any of the piles, then he examines the ground beneath the piles, digging down until he reaches either the bedrock below the ground, or virgin soil that has never been disturbed by human hands. At that point, even if the tuma is not found, all three piles may be ruled tahor, since we are now certain that there is no tuma there. In this case, the sages argue that even though there was certainly tuma in one of the piles, it might have been taken away by a bird or washed away by water. Therefore, we may conclude that the searches were done properly and that the tuma is in fact no longer here. In our earlier case, however, there is no way to explain how the kesem got onto the bed other than to say it came from one of the women. The sages therefore agree with Rabbi Meir that all three women must be ruled tamei out of doubt.